I spent 12 years believing the woman I loved chose to leave me. 12 years of silence, of moving on without ever really moving on. Then one afternoon, inside a box of my late father's belongings, I found a letter my mother had paid someone to disappear. And everything I thought I knew about the last 12 years of my life collapsed in a single afternoon. My name is James Calloway. I'm 38 years old, and I'm an architect based in Portland, Oregon. I design residential homes, mostly the kind that people save for years to build, that carry the weight of everything they hope their lives will become. I'm good at my work. I find meaning in it. For a long time, it was the only place I consistently found meaning, which tells you something about the 12 years that preceded the afternoon that changed everything. I want to tell you about Lily first, before anything else, because none of what follows makes sense without understanding what she was to me. We met when I was 24 and she was 23, in the way that people meet when they're young and the city feels full of possibility. At an art exhibition in a small gallery in the Pearl District, both of us pretending to understand a painting we didn't quite understand, both of us laughing when we admitted it simultaneously. She was studying fine arts. I was finishing my architecture degree. We were broke and ambitious and entirely certain that those two conditions were temporary. We were together for 3 years. I have been with other women in the 12 years since. I want to be honest about that. I am not a man who romanticizes celibacy or prolonged suffering. I dated. I tried. There was a woman named Rachel in my early 30s who was warm and intelligent and deserved someone who was fully present, which I was not, and eventually she told me so with a clarity and kindness I still respect. But Lily was the one I measured everything against without meaning to. The one whose absence had a specific shape. Not dramatic, not consuming, just persistent. Like a room in the house of yourself that you keep the door closed on because opening it accomplishes nothing. For 12 years I believed she had closed that door herself. I was wrong. In the spring of what would have been our 4th year together, things between us began to feel different. Not bad exactly. Not the specific tension of two people falling out of love. More like a weather change. Subtle, hard to name. Something in the atmosphere shifting before the storm is visible. Lily became quieter. More careful with her words in a way she had never been before. She had always been direct, sometimes startlingly so, which was one of the things I loved about her. She started canceling plans with low-grade excuses that didn't quite fit the person I knew. She stopped talking about the future the way we always had, the easy, unguarded way of two people who assume they'll be in each other's lives indefinitely. I asked her what was wrong. Several times, in several ways. She said nothing was wrong. She said she was tired, stressed about her thesis, figuring things out. I believed her, because I loved her and because she had never given me a reason not to. 3 weeks later, she came to my apartment on a Tuesday evening and told me she was ending things. No long explanation. No specific grievance I could argue against or address. Just the quiet, devastating finality of someone who has made a decision and is holding themselves together through the delivery of it. She said she cared about me. She said this wasn't about anything I had done. She said she needed to move in a different direction. I asked if there was someone else. She said no. I asked if I had done something wrong. She said no. I asked if she was sure, if this was really what she wanted. She looked at me for a long moment. Something moved behind her eyes that I couldn't read. Something complicated and painful that didn't match the simplicity of what she was saying. Yes, she said. I'm sure. She left 40 minutes later. I stood in my apartment and looked at the door she had closed behind her and felt the specific quality of a loss that doesn't announce itself dramatically but simply settles in. Quiet, total, permanent. 2 months later, I heard through mutual friends that she had moved to Seattle. I did not contact her. She had been clear. I respected that, even when respecting it felt like something being slowly removed from the center of my chest. My father passed away 14 months ago. He and my mother had been married for 41 years. A long, quiet, mostly contented marriage between two people who had built a life together through the straightforward application of commitment and routine. My father was a gentle man, a reader, a gardener, someone who expressed love through small, consistent actions rather than grand gestures. I was more like him than I ever told him, which is a regret I carry simply and without drama. He left behind, as quiet men often do, more than people expected. Not financially, his estate was modest and clearly organized. But physically, boxes of things accumulated over decades, books, letters, photographs, the particular archaeology of a life lived attentively. My mother asked me to go through them, which I understood was her way of not being able to do it herself. I spent a Saturday afternoon in my parents' house going through my father's study. Most of it was straightforward: professional documents, old correspondence, books with marginalia in his small, precise handwriting that I kept regardless of relevance because they felt like a version of him still speaking. At the bottom of the third box, underneath a stack of architectural magazines my father had saved because he knew I loved them, was a white envelope. It was addressed to me, James Calloway, my parents' Portland address. The return address was Lily Chun. The postmark was 12 years and 3 months ago, approximately 8 weeks after she had come to my apartment on a Tuesday evening and ended everything. The envelope had been opened, not by me. I sat on the floor of my father's study for a long time before I opened it. I understood, in the way you understand things before you have confirmed them, with the particular dread of someone about to have a long-held assumption destroyed, that what I was holding was going to change the shape of the last 12 years. I opened it. The letter was 4 pages, handwritten in Lily's careful, slightly left-leaning script that I would have recognized anywhere. I will not reproduce it in full. Some things belong to the people they were written for, but I will tell you what it said. It said that she had not wanted to leave, that the decision had not been hers. It said that 8 weeks before that Tuesday evening, my mother had come to see her, alone, unannounced, at the apartment Lily shared with a roommate near the university. My mother had told Lily, clearly and without ambiguity, that she was not the right person for her son, that James needed someone from a similar background, with similar prospects, with a family that could offer connections and stability. That Lily, the daughter of Chinese immigrants, an art student with uncertain professional prospects and no family money, was not that person. And then my mother had offered her money to disappear, $20,000, deposited into an account of Lily's choosing, in exchange for ending the relationship and leaving Portland without explanation. Lily had refused. Immediately, she wrote, without hesitation. But my mother had known something Lily hadn't fully admitted to herself yet. Lily's younger brother had just been accepted to a university program he couldn't afford. Her parents were struggling. $20,000 was not an abstraction. It was her brother's education. It was her family's stability. My mother had known exactly what she was doing. Lily wrote that she had held out for 3 weeks, that she had tried to find another way, that she had lain awake night after night looking for a version of the situation where she didn't have to choose. She hadn't found one. She took the money. She ended things. She moved to Seattle. And then, 8 weeks later, she had written this letter. 4 pages of everything she hadn't been able to say on that Tuesday evening, and mailed it to my parents' address because she didn't have my apartment address memorized and it was the only one she knew. My father had received it, and my mother had intercepted it before it reached me, and it had sat at the bottom of a box in my father's study for 12 years. I read it twice, then I set it down on the floor beside me and looked at the wall for a long time. Outside the window, Portland was doing what Portland does on a Saturday in November. Gray and steady and indifferent. Rain moving through the trees in the backyard my father had tended for 30 years. I thought about 12 years of a closed door. I thought about my mother in the kitchen downstairs, probably making tea, entirely unaware of what I had just found. I thought about Lily, and I thought about what I was going to do next. I sat on the floor of my father's study for a long time, not thinking exactly, more like waiting for my mind to catch up with what my hands were holding. There is a particular kind of shock that doesn't announce itself loudly. No racing heart, no visible trembling. Just a slow, total rearrangement of everything you believed was fixed. Like watching a building you trusted completely develop a crack that keeps widening the longer you look at it. 12 years. I had spent 12 years believing Lily had made a choice, that she had looked at what we had. 3 years of something I had believed was real and mutual and growing, and decided it wasn't enough. that I wasn't enough. I had never said that out loud to anyone, but it was there, underneath everything. The quiet conclusion a man draws when the person he loves leaves without a reason he can hold on to. I had built my entire understanding of that period of my life on a foundation that my mother had constructed deliberately and paid $20,000 to maintain. I picked up the letter and read it a third time. Lily's handwriting was exactly as I remembered it. Slightly left-leaning, careful but not rigid, the handwriting of someone who thought about words before committing them to the page. For pages. 8 weeks of silence and then 4 pages of everything she hadn't been able to say. Near the end of the third page, she had written something that stopped me completely. I know this letter might make things worse. I know you might be angry or past it or already moving on. I'm not writing it because I expect anything. I'm writing it because you deserve to know that what happened between us was not what it looked like. You deserved better than what I gave you that night. I'm sorry, James. I'm so sorry. I folded the letter carefully and put it back in the envelope. Then I stood up, walked downstairs, and stood in the doorway of the kitchen. My mother was at the counter with her back to me, exactly as I had imagined, kettle on, moving with the unhurried efficiency of someone in their own domain, entirely unaware that the architecture of the last 12 years had just shifted irreversibly. I looked at her for a moment. "Mom," I said. Something in my voice made her turn immediately. She read my face the way mothers read their children's faces, instinctively, quickly, and whatever she saw there made her go very still. Her eyes dropped to the envelope in my hand, and I knew from that single involuntary glance that she recognized it. "Sit down," I said quietly. "Please." She sat at the kitchen table. I sat across from her. I placed the envelope between us and did not speak for a moment, because I needed to be certain of my own steadiness before I began. My mother is 68 years old. She is a small woman who has always carried herself with a particular composed authority, the posture of someone who decided long ago that the world responds better to certainty than to vulnerability. She had raised me and my younger sister largely alone after my father's health declined in his later years. She had managed finances and household and family with a competence I had always admired. I was looking at her differently now. "Tell me about Lily," I said. She looked at the envelope, then at me. Something moved across her face, not guilt, exactly. More like the expression of someone who has carried a thing for a long time and has just been relieved of the option of carrying it further. "James, don't," I said, quietly. "Don't tell me it was complicated. Don't tell me you were trying to protect me. Just tell me what happened. From the beginning." A long silence. Then she told me. It was, in its broad shape, exactly what Lily's letter had described. My mother had gone to see Lily in the spring of our 4th year together. She had formed the view. She did not explain exactly how or when, that Lily was not the right person for my future. She had concerns, she said, about compatibility, about long-term stability, about what she called the practical realities of building a life with someone whose circumstances were so different from ours. I listened without interrupting. "I offered her money," my mother said. Her voice was steady, but her hands, flat on the table, were not. $20,000. "I thought," she stopped, started again. "I thought if she cared about you the way she said she did, she would refuse, that it would prove something." "She refused initially," I said. My mother looked at me. "You read the whole letter, every word," I said. "3 times. She looked down. "Her brother needed." "I know what her brother needed," I said. "I know exactly what you used." The kitchen was very quiet. The kettle had long since boiled and gone cold. "She wrote me a letter," I said, 8 weeks after she left. "She sent it here because she didn't have my address. You intercepted it." My mother said nothing. "For 12 years," I said. "You kept it for 12 years." "I didn't know what to do with it," she said very quietly. "After your father got sick, she stopped. "I told myself it was too late, that bringing it back up would only cause pain." I looked at my mother, this woman I had loved and respected my entire life, and tried to locate, somewhere inside the anger, the more complicated thing underneath it. Because it was there. It would always be there. She was my mother. That was not a simple fact, and I was not going to pretend it was. But it did not change what she had done. You didn't intercept it because it was too late, I said. You kept it because letting me read it meant admitting what you'd done. Those are not the same thing. She pressed her lips together. Her eyes were bright. I stood up. I picked up the envelope. I'm not going to tell you what kind of person this makes you, I said. You already know. You've known for 12 years. I walked to the front door and took my coat from the hook. James. Her voice was small in a way I had never heard before. What are you going to do? I thought about that for a moment. I don't know yet, I said honestly. But I'm going to start by finding out if Lily is okay. I closed the door behind me. Outside, Portland was gray and steady and rain-soaked and entirely indifferent to the fact that my life had just divided itself cleanly into before and after a single afternoon. I sat in my car in my parents' driveway. I took out my phone. I searched for Lily Chun, Portland, Oregon. The third result was a website for a small art studio in the Alberta Arts District. Faculty page. A photograph of a woman with dark hair and paint-stained fingers standing in front of a canvas, smiling the way people smile when they are photographed doing something they genuinely love. She had come back to Portland. At some point in the last 12 years, she had come back. And I had not known. I sat with that for a long moment. Then I put the car in reverse and drove home through the rain, the letter on the passenger seat beside me, thinking about what 12 years costs and whether any of it was recoverable. I did not go to the studio immediately. That might seem strange. Finding out that the woman you never stopped thinking about was living 12 minutes across the city from you, and then waiting. But I had learned something in the years since Lily left that I hadn't known at 24. That the moments requiring the most care are exactly the ones where the impulse to move fast is strongest. The impulse and the wisdom are rarely pointing in the same direction. I needed to think about what I was walking into. Lily had left 12 years ago under circumstances that were not her choice. I understood that now with complete clarity. But 12 years was still 12 years. She had built a life inside that time. A career, a studio, a version of herself that had nothing to do with the 23-year-old woman who had stood in my apartment on a Tuesday evening, holding herself together through something I hadn't understood until now. I had no idea what she felt. The letter told me what she had felt 8 weeks after leaving. It told me nothing about what 12 years of living with that decision had done to those feelings, whether they had calcified into something she'd made peace with, or whether they were still unresolved in the way mine had always been. Going to her studio without warning, waving a 12-year-old letter like it resolved everything. That was the move of a man who was thinking about his own pain rather than hers. I gave myself 3 days. I spent those 3 days doing ordinary things with extraordinary difficulty. I went to work. I reviewed blueprints for a residential project in the West Hills. A young couple's first home. Every decision carrying the particular weight of people who have saved for years and are trusting you completely. I focused on the work the way I always had, with the deliberate attention that leaves no room for anything else. In the evenings, I thought about my mother. She had called twice. I had let both calls go to voicemail and had not listened to the messages yet. I was not ready to be in that conversation again, not because I was avoiding it permanently, but because I needed to understand my own position before I could engage with hers. What she had done was a specific kind of wrong that I kept turning over carefully, looking at from different angles. She had made a unilateral decision about my life based on her own values and fears, without my knowledge or consent. She had then compounded that decision by concealing evidence of it for 12 years. The original act was a betrayal. The concealment was a choice made over and over again, every day for 12 years. And yet, she was 68 years old. She had loved me in her way for every year of my life. The love was real even when its expression was profoundly wrong. I was not going to resolve that contradiction quickly, and I was not going to pretend I had. I called my sister on the second evening, not to tell her everything, just to hear a familiar voice that wasn't complicated yet. "You sound strange," she said immediately. "I found some things at Dad's," I said. "I'm still processing." Pause. Good strange or bad strange? I thought about that. "Both," I said. "I'll tell you properly when I can." She let me leave it there, which is one of the things I have always valued most about her. On the fourth morning, I drove to the Alberta Arts District. The studio was on a quiet block between a coffee shop and a bookstore, a converted ground floor space with large windows that let in the north light the way good art studios always do. Through the glass, I could see canvases on the walls, a work table along one side, the organized, productive clutter of a space that is actually used rather than merely displayed. A sign on the door said, "Open Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Classes by appointment." It was a Thursday, 10:40 in the morning. I stood on the sidewalk outside for longer than I intended. Then I opened the door. The smell hit me first, oil paint and linseed and the particular woody warmth of a space that has been lived in creatively for years. Two women were working at easels near the back window, absorbed in their canvases. A teenager sat at the work table doing something careful with watercolors. And behind a small desk near the entrance, looking at something on a laptop with her reading glasses pushed up on her head, was Lily, 12 years. She looked different in the specific way that people look different when they have become more fully themselves. Not older in any diminishing sense, but settled, defined. The slightly uncertain quality of the very young, which she had worn beautifully at 23, replaced by something quieter and more deliberate. She looked up when the door opened. The moment she saw me, everything in her face went completely still. Not frightened, not cold, just still, the way a person goes still when something they had filed away as permanently past walks unexpectedly through a door. "James," she said, very quietly. "Hi, Lily," I said. She asked the students if they could work independently for a few minutes. They could. She led me to a small back room, half office, half storage, shelves of art supplies and framed pieces leaning against the walls, and closed the door. We stood facing each other in that small space and neither of us spoke for a moment. I reached into my jacket and took out the envelope. I held it out to her. She looked at it. Something shifted in her expression, recognition, I thought, though I wasn't certain she could identify it from the outside. "I found this at my father's house 4 days ago," I said. "At the bottom of a box. It was already opened." She took it carefully, looked at the return address in her own handwriting, looked at the postmark. "You read it," she said. "Yes." She turned the envelope over in her hands. "I wrote 3 drafts of that letter," she said quietly. "I almost didn't send any of them." "I'm glad you sent it," I said, "even if it took 12 years to reach me." She looked up. Her eyes were steady, but there was something behind them working hard to stay that way. "Your mother," she said. It wasn't a question. "Yes," I said. I confronted her. She confirmed everything. Lily nodded slowly. She set the envelope on the shelf beside her and looked at it for a moment. "I want to ask you something," I said, "and I need you to answer honestly, whatever the answer is." She looked at me. "Are you okay?" I said. "Not then. Now. Are you okay?" Something in her expression shifted, softened in a way that was complicated and real. "I built something good here," she said carefully. "The studio, my work, my life." She paused. "It took a long time, but yes, I'm okay." "Good," I said, and I meant it completely, the uncomplicated version of it, the version that existed before whatever came next. "James." Her voice was careful. "Why are you here? What are you hoping for?" It was the right question. The only question, really. I had thought about how to answer it for 4 days. I had constructed several versions, measured, appropriate, calibrated to not ask for more than was fair to ask. In that small back room, facing her, I set all of them aside. "I'm not here to ask you for anything," I said. "I'm here because you wrote me 4 pages telling me the truth and it spent 12 years in a box. You deserve to know I finally read it." I paused. "And I'm here because I'd like to have a conversation, a real one, if you're willing." Lily looked at me for a long moment. Outside the closed door, the quiet sounds of the studio continued, brushes on canvas, the occasional soft word between the students, the ordinary sounds of a life she had built carefully from the wreckage of a choice she hadn't truly made. "There's a coffee shop next door," she said finally. I can take a break at noon. Something loosened in my chest that had been held tight for a very long time. I'll be there, I said. The coffee shop next door was the kind of place Portland does well. Worn wooden tables, mismatched chairs, the smell of good coffee and something baking, a playlist of quiet music that didn't demand attention. I arrived 10 minutes early and took a corner table by the window and ordered a black coffee I held with both hands without drinking. At noon exactly, the door opened and Lily walked in. She had changed out of her paint-stained studio shirt into a simple dark sweater, her hair down now instead of pulled back. She moved through the coffee shop with the unhurried ease of someone who belongs in a neighborhood, nodding to the person behind the counter, familiar with the space, at home in it. She sat down across from me, ordered tea, wrapped both hands around the mug when it came. We looked at each other across the small table. "So," she said. "So," I said, and then, unexpectedly, we both almost smiled, that simultaneous recognition of the absurdity and weight of the moment, the 12 years compressed into a corner table and 2 warm drinks. "Where do we start?" she said. "Wherever you want," I said. "We have time." We talked for 2 hours and 40 minutes. I know the exact duration because at some point I became aware that the lunch crowd had come and gone around us, the coffee shop cycling through its afternoon rhythm while we remained in our corner entirely outside of it. She told me things I hadn't known. The months after she left Portland, Seattle, a small apartment, a job at a framing shop while she figured out what came next. The particular difficulty of carrying a secret that implicated someone else's family. Never being able to tell anyone the real reason. Never being able to grieve it properly because the grief required an explanation she had promised implicitly not to give. "Did you ever think about contacting me?" I said. "After the letter?" She was quiet for a moment. "Many times," she said. "But I had taken the money, James. Whatever your mother did, I made that choice. I told myself I had forfeited the right to reach back." "You were 23, I said. "Your family needed help and someone exploited that. Those are not equivalent things." She looked at her tea. "I know that now," she said. "It took a long time to know it." "When did you come back to Portland?" I said. 6 years ago, she said. "I had a teaching opportunity. The city felt like, I don't know, unfinished business, maybe." A pause. "I looked you up when I came back." I looked at her. "I found your firm's website," she said. "Read about your work. You were doing well." Something moved across her face. I almost called, several times. But I didn't know what I would say. I didn't know if you'd want to hear from me. I assumed you'd moved on. "I hadn't," I said. She looked at me steadily. "I know that now," she said quietly. At some point, the conversation turned to my mother. I had been holding that part carefully. Not avoiding it, just waiting for the right place in the conversation to set it down between us without it becoming the center of everything. "How are you feeling about her?" Lily asked. Directly, the way she had always been direct. I thought about it honestly. "Angry," I said. "Still, underneath that, something more complicated that I don't have a clean word for yet." I paused. "She's my mother. That doesn't disappear. But what she did cost both of us something that can't be returned. I don't know how to hold both of those things yet." Lily nodded slowly. "I spent a long time being angry at her," she said. "Then I spent a long time trying not to be, because the anger wasn't doing anything useful." She paused. "I don't know if I ever fully got there." "You don't have to," I said. She looked at me. "Neither do you," she said. There was something freeing in that, the simple permission to not have resolved it, to be somewhere in the middle of a thing that didn't have a clean ending yet. "I'm going to need time with her," I said. "I don't know what that relationship looks like going forward. But she's 68 and she was there for every important thing in my life before this. I'm not capable of simply excising that." "I wouldn't want you to," Lily said. "She's your mother, James. Whatever she did to us, she's still your mother." The word "us" landed quietly between us. Neither of us remarked on it, but it was there. I called my mother that evening. She answered on the first ring, which told me she had been waiting, probably since the moment I had walked out of her house 4 days earlier. "James," she said. "Just my name." All the weight of 4 days in 2 syllables. I'm not calling to continue the argument, I said. I'm calling because I don't want to leave things where they are indefinitely. That's not good for either of us. A long exhale on her end. I know, she said quietly. I know that. I need you to understand something, I said. What you did wasn't protection. It was control. Those feel the same from the inside sometimes, but they're not. And the concealment. 12 years of knowing that letter existed and choosing every single day not to tell me. That's going to take time for me to work through. Silence. I understand, she said finally. Her voice was smaller than I had ever heard it. I'm not ending our relationship, I said, but I need space right now. Real space. And when we talk again, really talk, I need you to be honest with me about all of it. Not the version that makes it more forgivable. All of it. Yes, she said. Okay. Yes. Okay, I said. I let the silence sit for a moment. Are you all right? She asked quietly, the mother underneath everything else, unable not to ask. I'm getting there, I said honestly. I meant it. Lily and I had coffee again the following week. And the week after that. I want to be careful here about how I tell this part, because real life is not a movie, and 12 years is not erased by 2 hours in a coffee shop and a 4-page letter. We were not 23 anymore. We were people who had been shaped by the intervening time into versions of ourselves that the other didn't fully know yet. That was not a tragedy. It was simply the truth of where we were. What I can tell you is that those conversations, slow, honest, built carefully from the ground up, felt like something I had not felt in a very long time. Not the dizzy certainty of young love, which is its own beautiful and unreliable thing. Something quieter and more considered. The feeling of being known by someone who is paying genuine attention. Whether it becomes what it once was, or something new, or something we haven't named yet. I don't know. I am genuinely uncertain, and I have made my peace with that uncertainty in a way the younger version of me could not have managed. What I know is this. I spent 12 years with a closed door inside myself that I had accepted as permanent. I had built a life around it. Good work, good friendships, a city I loved, a practice that gave me purpose. None of that was false. None of it goes away. But the door is open now. And the room on the other side is not empty. My father's garden is still there, behind my parents' house on the east side, the one he tended for 30 years with the patient consistency of a man who understood that good things grow slowly and require showing up every day regardless of results. I have been going over on Saturday mornings to maintain it. My mother makes coffee. We sit on the back porch sometimes before I start, not talking much, just present in the same space while the city wakes up around us. We are not where we were. I don't know if we will get back there entirely, and I have stopped trying to predict it. But she is my mother, and I am her son. And some mornings, sitting on that porch with the garden my father left us stretching out in the early light, that is enough to build from. Some things, it turns out, are worth the patience. Some doors are worth opening, even after 12 years. Even then,